We're really excited to be here with our friends from Rewind today. So Bradley, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
This is going to be fabulosa.
Glad to be excited.
It's very fun to have you here. Rewind has been on Appy Hour before, but it's been a while. So things have changed and there's some updates.
Yeah, I think it was 2021, maybe, when Gavin popped in to say hello and introduce Rewind to the world of Appy Hour. So yeah, I'm here to talk about why we're great during tax season, essentially.
That is fantastic. Well, without pausing any longer, Heather, do you want to do an introduction of yourself?
Sure. So I'm Heather Satterlee. I'm a CPA and I am the Director of Education and Media at Woodard. So I am the one who is curating the topics for our Scaling New Heights conference, which is coming up soon. I am also a accounting technology enthusiast and love playing with different types of apps, figuring out how to streamline workflows. And I'm actually doing a little bit of taxes right now too. So I still have the friends and family that I'm doing taxes for. So that's fun. So I'm excited to hear about how Rewind can help during tax season. Very excited for our conversation.
Right in the middle of it. Yeah. So I am Scott and I get to play in tech all day. So I have a really good time. I enjoy what I do so much. And I could not be happier to be able to, from the accountant's perspective, give guidance to a lot of the apps that are in our area. What are we looking for as features? Sometimes where do we get stuck? How can we make sure that we know about the app? So designing tech stacks. So it's super fun and I'm grateful to be here. And we have a special guest.
Yeah.
So Brad is here with us and do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. So my name's Brad. I am the financial controller at Rewind. So essentially, member of the leadership team, help to contribute to some of the decision-making processes that happen at Rewind, and obviously oversee the accounting team at Rewind. So very apt when we're talking about QuickBooks. I've previously lived in the UK, now currently live in Vancouver in Canada. Have a total of about 15 years working in accounting and finance. Started off in audit, as most accountants seem to, with a little bit of tax put in there. And then did a little bit of time restructuring and then moved into tech about 7 years ago, and I'm loving it so far. I also would just add in like the little bits of, because I think it's nice to get to know people outside of the work environment, right? So I am an avid skier during winter and an avid camper. I love the outdoors generally. I think that's one of the main reasons for living in Vancouver, right? The Great Pacific Northwest.
Well, and there's
what is your favorite
things that's new in your life you want to share?
Oh, that's right. There is
So I also became a father 7 weeks ago. So I have a beautiful baby daughter. She is keeping me on my toes, to put it bluntly. If you hear any crying in the background, I apologize. She's trying her best to nap at the moment, but as with all babies, it's not quite as simple as that. So, but I'm loving it. I'm having a really good time. It's definitely got its ups and downs, but yeah, it's great.
7 weeks is little.
Very little.
It's just a little tiny baby.
I feel like she's got bigger quite quickly though. Like she seems like she started off as a little peanut and now she actually looks like a little bit of a human, which is quite nice. Oh. But like whenever I'm holding her, she still looks tiny. So we've still got a little bit more time of the smallness left.
Oh my goodness, but I just love all the little baby fingers and the little baby toes. That's super exciting.
So
well, I'm grateful that you're here.
I like the little baby smell.
Oh,
like babies have the best little smell.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, when they're not that smell.
Yeah, not. I mean, we all know.
You know what I mean.
Although I will say this as well, that smell is not so bad as you'd think at the start. I think it definitely is one of the nicer surprises for now. apparently it gets worse.
Yeah, I think their little heads, they have like I don't know, a peaches and cream type smell to them. Little
They
baby,
do.
little brand new
Time.
babies. Well, we want to say thank you to our sponsors. Heather and I have been grateful to bring Tech Stacks to you this year. And one of the things that we want to do is make sure that everybody is aware of these solutions that are going to be with us throughout the year as we're talking about apps. And we've got some really great ones that are here. So Client Hub, our great friend Judy that's over there, and Rewind, who's here with us today, Commerce Sync, who is coming back very soon, and they're going to be doing some episodes with us. Cinder, we've got some friends over at Cinder that are going to be joining us, and then Relay throughout the year. So thank you to our sponsors.
Yeah, huge thanks. I'm really looking forward. I mean, we've gotten off to a great start and there's still much more to come. So lots of conferences and webinars and maybe a little partying. So it's gonna be a great year.
And it wouldn't be complete without daily specials. So Rewind is offering a 25% off for 2 months. So we'll get to see some more of Rewind, but that's a cool special offer. And then Client Hub is offering a free version of their platform. So if you haven't tried out Client Hub, it's a really great accounting platform for being able to be organized with your clients. And then Cinder has got a daily summary sync that is brand new. So lots of cool stuff that's going on.
Exciting.
Super exciting. So we've got Rewind with us. And over in chat, just so you know, there is also a team member that's going to be here that's going to help out in chat. So if you see some responses and you're like, wait, who is that? You've got Vanessa who is helping out. Oh, and it looks like Brad, you just added that. So if you see any responses from Vanessa, she is here to help.
Fantastic. Yay. Hi, Vanessa.
Yeah, I think Vanessa is responsible for me being here today. So I'm pleased to have her as my co-conspirator in this the podcast today.
Yeah, I love it. Well, it's always better whenever you've got team support.
Yeah, exactly. It takes a little bit of the pressure off, doesn't it?
So we're starting off this episode with the drink. We're going to be doing a lot of looking at Rewind and going back and forth. So I've got mine ready. It's right here and it's super spring-like. Club soda has always got that little bit of bubbly.
The
It's
orange
very fun.
slice. Yes.
All right, so I'm going to pass it over to you, Brad, if you want to take over.
Yes, let me just give me a second. Oops, 1 second. I am awful with Google Slides, so you can see how many presentations I usually do, right? Oh, I think I need to screen share in.
Well, let's make sure that you have got that. Hey, Heather, do you mind promoting Brad so that way he can screen share?
Oh, of course. Let me go through and do the share screen and let's see. You now may share. I have
Excellent.
now made it possible for you to share. So fantastic.
Awesome.
Fabulous.
So yeah, I guess the main part of this is to get to know, to Rewind a little bit better, right? Obviously the general theme of today is how we can help during tax season, but it's not the only time of the year we can help out. We are generally there for to help support everyone's apps throughout history of time without just being the tax season. So yes, let's get to know us a little bit better. So the main mission of Rewind, for anyone that is not previously aware of us, is to essentially protect the small and medium-sized businesses by backing up the cloud data. We essentially are there as a insurance, a protection mechanism for the various different apps that are around in the current cloud ecosystem at the moment. QBO happens to be one of those apps, and essentially this came around as an idea of, as the cloud was being expanded and everyone was moving to the cloud with their data and using a number of different applications, Rewind wanted to develop a solution to prevent numbers of data losses that were happening at the time. So this is our main mission.
Well, and Rewind's been doing this for a while. I know that for our firm, we do consulting and working with apps. So Rewind's been our go-to, I would say, probably for the last 4 years.
Yeah, that's great to hear. Yeah, so we've been around for a little while. We actually started off servicing Shopify backups and have slowly expanded our offering since then into a number of different applications, which we can kind of cover in a little bit. But yeah, like ultimately, like you say, like we've been around for a little while now. We've expanded our offerings, and we like to think that we've got better at helping customers protect their data over the last 4 years or so. So just moving on. So I think in terms of the reason why we offer these backups in the first place is that many of those SaaS applications that I spoke about that are hosting data in the cloud and essentially storing significant amounts of customer data don't actually offer their own backups. They may say they do. They are generally there for catastrophic events. As you can see here on my scale, a meteorite lands on the servers. That's usually a pretty good reason for one of these platforms to restore the data, or big data breaches. So your data is protected, but not at a user level. So at a platform level, most of these apps will protect your data. You'll see in terms of service or when you sign up for them, the data is protected. But in terms of the individual elements of your data, so things that happen as a result of third-party app errors, malicious data detection, CSV imports, which we love or maybe don't love so much in the accounting industry, and then just human error, right? We're all humans at the end of the day, and we make mistakes. So these are the areas that get covered by Rewind backups. The stuff that essentially is the customer's responsibility and not the platform's responsibility. So, sorry.
I love that, because you never know. I mean, you never know when a client, and it's not just you and your firm, but when you're talking about user error, I've been on the other side of that where I've had something that I did that I didn't really intend to do. And it was so nice to be able to go back and kind of reset or rewind it to the point where I didn't, I could start fresh, and I didn't have to, put a lot of effort into cleaning up my mess. I've also had situations where there were just blips in something that happened, and I actually lost all my data not too long ago. Well, actually it's been a few years, but I did lose all of my data in my QuickBooks Online company when I had a little blip with my browser cache. I was doing some pretty advanced stuff and it went, and so it was really nice to be able to restore it. So that was awesome.
Yeah, 100%. And I think that we all kind of go through this with stuff like QuickBooks Online, or even just other platforms that you use. Like I know myself as an accountant, like ever since joining Rewind, even we've replaced a number of the systems we use. Like our tech stack has expanded. We have a number of different applications that connect into our ERP system. So when I was on QuickBooks, we had a number of like AP platforms. We had stuff to chase clients for invoices. Like there's a number of different applications that we had that I had access to that data. And as you're changing these applications, you're integrating new systems, and you're at risk of data loss, you're at low risk of data corruption. you're at risk of just human error, like I say, in terms of actually importing the data in the first place. Like I say, CSVs are not the most user-friendly way of importing data, and we all make mistakes here, right? And sometimes it's not even us making the mistakes. Sometimes it's the you're working with a separate accounting firm, maybe you're working with an implementation consultant. So there's a lot of areas there where data can go wrong, and essentially we provide the solution to help minimize that, or essentially help avoid it in the future by being able to restore your data back to a particular point in time. And I suspect, Heather, one of the reasons why you haven't had to worry about this so much in 4 years is because Rewind was there, right, to help.
Exactly right. Yeah,
Gosh, I
exactly right.
remember.
I mean, when I had my firm, all of my clients were on Rewind. And the firm that acquired me, all their clients are on Rewind. So it is definitely something that that helps us to sleep at night and know that our clients' data is secure.
Well, and that was such a huge thing, Heather. You were saying it wasn't too long ago, but it feels like it wasn't too long ago. Whenever you had your QuickBooks dump everything out, of course, it was just like a weird glitch thing that happened, but everything was gone.
It was, and it was one of those things where I was looking at my computer screen and I was like, what? And I was looking at it and I was like, that doesn't say 0. That's not empty. That's like not gone. And then, so I refreshed and then I looked again and it was, and then I logged out, and logged back in, and it was still gone. And then I was like, oh my gosh, I have a backup. And thank goodness, right? Because that would have been a really bad day. I mean, it was a gut wrenching, but it ended up being just fine.
Salvageable.
Yeah, it was like the panic was only there for a minute because I was like, oh, I have a backup.
Well, and I remember seeing the text and then getting the call, and I was like, what do you mean there's no data? It was horrific. Yeah. So it was definitely a good thing to be able to upload.
I also saw in the chat there was some questions around the QBO copy functionality, which is no longer there. So I suspected this question might come up, so I did want to just address that before we obviously go forward. Yes, so we don't do the QBO copy functionality anymore. Obviously, the benefit of this was that there's an ability to copy customer data from one instance to another, which is obviously, I guess, a loss for the QuickBooks community, and obviously not having that functionality anymore. I think from our end, I think the real reason for this is essentially that, like, not every product is a home run, unfortunately, when it comes to actually providing substance and demand in the industry. So sometimes you need to sunset products and projects that aren't working on our end. I think we found that QBO was a pretty tough, QBO copy at least anyway, was a pretty tough product to continue providing, essentially because there was certain things that couldn't be copied. There was a lot of manual work that was involved in making this a success every single time. So we strive to provide quality platforms and platforms that do what they say on the tin. And we found a lot of struggles with actually having that happen with QBO copy. And we essentially wanted to make sure that we were providing a strong piece of software that people could essentially use and get some so essentially something that worked, right?
Well, and that was kind of the original goal of Rewind, was to be very granular and being able to rewind a specific piece of information. So that's where Rewind shines, is in that
it really does.
You need to go back in a particular instance.
Exactly. And I think that's the thing, is like, for the individual accounts, we still provide that service, we provide that granularity, that control over your data. And when it comes to copy, if that's failing multiple times, then obviously you want that to be done right. And if it's something that wasn't working, then it's not worth offering to clients. So that was a decision that we made. And the focus is on the backups, which are still a fantastic product and have a lot of opportunities to help clients protect their data.
So when it comes to backups, these logos that are on the screen, Heather, how many can you get? I've got 3.
So I think I see Trello.
Yep.
I see GitHub. Is that GitHub?
Mhm.
Which
I
one's
see
GitHub?
Shopify. GitHub's a little kitty.
Cat.
Well, I mean, it looks
wonder-
like a kitty. I don't know that it's a kitty. Looks like a cat. It's me.
with the little pointy ears. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's, and then QuickBooks, obviously, which I don't even see the QuickBooks. Am I missing the QuickBooks icon on there?
Well, yeah, so
It's not on there, but it should be. Yeah.
it should be, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, this is just some additional applications that we
Right.
offer backups for, right? So, so essentially, like as we kind of alluded to, we don't just offer backups for QuickBooks only. We are a backup company. We offer a number of backups for different cloud-based solutions out there. So, like I said, we started off with Shopify. We expanded into other e-commerce. We use BigCommerce as well. And then with the accounting side of things, we have QuickBooks, and then we've expanded this into essentially being like a software vertical as well. So we look at, so we've got the Trello, we've got GitHub, Jira, Confluence, a number of these apps that a lot of businesses use. So I think we found that from doing a number of research that companies between 100 to 500 employees have between 40 and 140 different applications that they use. Each of these are sharing data back and forth. There's a number of different data transfers that happen in, and a number of areas in which you can essentially lose data, have data corrupted during that process. And we essentially want to be backing up the entire cloud as a mission, right? So I think the point here is that Rewind doesn't just back up your QuickBooks, and we can actually help you protect your data in a number of other areas. The additional thing that I would say in relation to this as well is that we just released our data protection suite as well, which is essentially expanding on this idea of backups and protection, stuff like that. And essentially what it's looking to do is provide a full data protection suite for the apps that we support. It's initially launched with Shopify, so going back to our roots of starting with the e-commerce side, we have launched that on Shopify platform, and it provides not only the backups and restores, it also provides a staging instance, which would have been similar to what QBO Copy offered in the past. It also offers alerts, and it also offers monitoring of that data. And obviously we're trialing this with Shopify at the moment, but the idea is to essentially roll this out over our other platforms as we continue to grow and find a use case for this particular product. So the idea of evolving from a data protection company into, evolving from just a backup company into a full data protection company. And I think with a number of like instances that have happened in terms of data breaches, now is a better time than any to be providing that service to people out there. Yeah, so I guess moving on, we're so what causes problems in QuickBooks Online? We've kind of already touched upon this. There was the app integration side of things, which I think as accountants we've all come to deal with, especially as technology has improved and we've found more tools that we use to help support our day-to-day lives. CSV imports. I mean, I've lost count of the amount of times that my CSV imports have gone wrong, and I still shudder at the thought of having to use them today. And then human error, right? Like, we're all humans at the end of the day. There might be this move to AI generally, but accounting is still going to be a very human profession, and requires that human interaction. And as humans, we are prone to making errors sometimes, and especially when we're dealing with large amounts of data, large client files, complicated information, it's easy to make mistakes.
You know, it's totally, especially whenever, for me, my two most common scenarios whenever I've got an issue is one, either I've connected an app and I've got some unexpected results, or the human error. You know, I do a lot of QuickBooks Online training, and so sometimes new users do very clever things. And that's where it's nice to be able to say, let's undo that. It makes a big difference.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's the thing, isn't it? Is like, I don't think we all really know 100% like that what we're doing is going to work, right? And knowing that when you make that mistake, being able to just click a button and go back to where you were, or to a point in time where you know that your data is fine, or you know that things are working, is a really handy tool to have. And like, I think everyone that's used this product previously is or continues to use this product will agree that it can be a lifesaver at times.
So we've got a couple of questions that are over in chat. Do you care if I throw them at you?
Yeah, sure, go for it. I'll try and answer them as best as I can. If not, I'll throw them over to Vanessa to respond.
So our friend Jenny, she's asking, does Rewind back up at a schedule?
Yeah, so the way that Rewind backs up is, it's continuous backups essentially. So the idea being that every single time you change something within the platform, it gets backed up, right? So essentially, if you're changing an invoice, it will take an automatic backup of that invoice at that particular point in time. If you're creating a journal entry, it will take a backup of that journal entry as at the point when you change it. The whole system will continue to back up at a different point in time, but it also takes the individual elements as you make changes to them and backs them up automatically. There is also the option of going into the platform and pressing a button and doing a full backup as at a point in time as well.
I love that. Okay, that kind of leads into my next question. That was, how quickly can Rewind restore a client's file?
Yeah, so I have a brief video on this in a little bit.
Okay.
But for now, I would say it's pretty instantaneous. Yeah, so so in terms of restoring the file, it's simply a case, and again, I think if anyone would like to see like a really detailed overview, my colleague Gavin did a really good job of like actually walking through how the platform works when he joined the Happy Hour call a couple of years ago. So I'd encourage everyone to go back and watch that episode. If you're so inclined, we can also obviously provide product demos here as well. But essentially, there's different ways to restore the data. So you can restore those individual instances. So like I said, like you make change to an invoice, you realize there's an issue, you can go back and restore it. If you want to restore the entire platform, you can also do that with a click of the button. So whereas with other, like a backup, a full QBO backup, you obviously join the queue to wait in line for them to get around to your request. Whether they can do it or not, it's a different matter. With Rewind, you can essentially press a button, you have that control over your data to be able to restore it pretty much instantly. So it goes from hours, days, weeks to a couple of minutes. So, like I was going to say, so obviously we're in the midst of tax season at the moment. As an accountant, I've personally, I don't know if it's a good or bad thing that I've managed to avoid being a tax accountant. I feel like I'm a tax accountant this time of year for friends and family, which I think everyone on this call can probably relate to.
Yeah, no.
I've actually managed to avoid doing it so much this year because the excuse of having a baby has allowed me a little bit of leeway with friends, which is, it's good to be able to just throw that excuse in there, but always try to help out where I can. So yeah, so I think for like, as most people will agree, tax season's hard enough. We are, as accountants, it's probably the busiest time of year in the calendar year. It's challenging. It's also the most important time to be protecting your client files and ensuring they're backed up. there's a large amount of data coming in at this time of year. It's probably the more data volume to protect than any other time of year for most accountants. And obviously during this time, we're working long hours, meeting tight deadlines, and also need to ensure the client confidentiality and that the data is secure that we're using, right? So you think about like all of the issues with data transfers and making sure that everything is secure and that nothing gets lost. When you think about the time of year and you're thinking about like how busy everyone is and how much work people are doing, going between files, changing data, entering it into the system, there's a massively increased risk of human error at this time. I think statistically it's like 82% of finance professionals are feeling burned out at this point in time. I would probably argue it's closer to 100 during tax season. And essentially what we want to do is take the pressure off for people during this time to know that if anything does go wrong with that data, that you have the ability to recover it quickly and avoid any unnecessary data losses.
Yeah, that's awesome. And you know, I've got a couple of other questions. So this one's been asked 2 different times. One of them is, does Rewind back up to desktop?
We do not back up to desktop, we back up to the cloud.
Okay, so QuickBooks Online only.
Yes, that's correct,
Okay.
yes.
And then the other question is, you know, some people are familiar with the QuickBooks Online Advanced SKU. And so they're asking, is this similar to if you've got QuickBooks Online Advanced and there's a backup? And so my quick answer to that one is yes, they're very similar because they're both going to be doing backups. QuickBooks Online Advanced has got it built in, but there's a whole lot of other clients that I've got that I'm going to say the majority of them are in QuickBooks Online Plus. And so for them, they want to be able to have that same kind of rewind ability. So they're going to be a better fit for a rewind.
Yeah, I couldn't have put it better for myself.
I think the other difference is that I think with the QuickBooks built-in backup for advanced, I think it only backs up the whole company and then you can restore it back to a certain point in time, whereas Rewind, it backs it up and then you can restore little pieces of components, like you said, that invoice or a list, right? I believe that's how I understand it to be. Is that correct? So there is a big difference there.
Yeah, so I mean, to be fair, that's exactly how I understand it to be as well. I think that this is the whole point. So essentially you have a lot more control over that data, right? So because of the different individual instances that get backed up, it's not just that full reset. It's not that full rewind back to any point in time. It's essentially the ability to rewind or restore anything that you want within the platform. So if it's a journal entry, if it's a invoice, if it's a fixed asset entry, like anything at all, you can restore it back to a point in time. And then the data flows that will happen within the system will follow that as well.
Okay, and then I've got a clarifying question. So I think Kim is saying, does it work with QuickBooks Online Accountant? So can, you know, your books be backed up? So I'm going to say yes, because your books is a plus subscription, in some cases an advanced and others, but yeah, you would have the same kind of backup ability.
Yes, that's correct. Yeah.
All right, throwing it back to you, Brad.
Awesome. So again, we've kind of touched on this in terms of how Rewind can help, but just kind of obviously just to reiterate, so obviously, like I say, like protecting that data at the height of tax season, we have the automated backups, we have on-demand data recovery, so we're essentially safeguarding client data to ensure that you can be compliant and not complacent. We minimize downtime and save money. I think during this time, time is money essentially, right? Like we are essentially in a situation where if you can't access client data for days or weeks, it can really hamper your ability to file tax returns on time. It can hamper your ability to meet those deadlines that are such strict, and obviously everyone's working hard and long hours to work towards, and the last thing you want is to not be able to access client data or have corrupt data to work with and have to wait or not have any way at all to recover that. So essentially what we're doing is providing peace of mind by automatically backing up those files. There's no need to manually go into the system and click back up. You can, if you want to, the option's there. But like I said, by providing those automatic backups, by providing that that backup of the individual items when changes are made, we provide that essential peace of mind that I think is so necessary during stressful times at this time of year. And I think for me personally, having like I said, not worked in tax but worked in audit before, I definitely feel like dealing with large amounts of data, there's a lot of one thing I don't want to worry about is what happens if I ever lose it.
What happens if I lose it? Well, and Kelly Parks, she came on the Appy Hour and she was the one who was talking about, she uses Rewind for her clients for exactly those reasons. She wants that peace of mind and she wants to be able to know when working with her clients, she's got a backup whenever she's working with them. And Jean Zick is, you know, one of the things that you're saying over in chat too, is that you're doing the same thing. You're working with your clients and you've got Rewind connected to client files.
And that's something that I would say, like with our firm, that was something that we really promoted to potential clients too, is that was something that we offered standard to our clients. So it makes for a nice kind of value add, right, to the services that you're providing to your clients, to know that they have that peace of mind.
Well, and a lot of them are not going to find Rewind by themselves. And so,
right.
You know, that was a big one whenever I had clients that were very familiar with desktop, but they wanted to convert over to QuickBooks Online. They're like, well, what about this backup that I'm so used to running? It's just not a thing that you have to do it manually. You can actually have a tool that's going to be connected and does it, like you said earlier, on a schedule.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. 100%. So what I wanted to do, so in answer to your earlier question, Liz, I don't know if you remember it, if you wanted to answer it, I'll ask it again.
So I think it was, how long does it take to, or how quickly can Rewind restore a client's file? Yeah.
It's a really good question. I'm gonna show you a video about exactly how Rewind stores customer files. So hopefully this works. Fingers crossed.
No, I don't have time to do this again.
Larry, don't tell me you deleted everything again. That's all right, man. We just installed Rewind backups for QuickBooks Online. It's going to be super easy to fix. You can just undo any accident with the click of a button. No sweat. Just pick a date and then click restore. Yeah, you got it.
Undo mistakes in minutes. Rewind backups can restore a single list or transaction or your entire client file exactly how you need it. On-demand and granular restores mean you'll never waste time undoing again.
Oh my gosh, those actors are perfect.
Oh my gosh, the hug at the end. Thank you for saving me.
I quite enjoy that little video. I think it's quite
Right.
funny. But yeah, so essentially, yeah, like it's instantaneous, as you can see in the video. It's a click of a button. You select the date and time you want to go back to, press the restore button, and all your data will be back there. Or the same with those individual elements, you can also select a date and time for each of those two, and it will allow you to restore to whichever date and time you wish.
Yeah, I remember this was years ago, but I'll share an example of, I have a couple of examples where I wish I had Rewind in my career. So the first one was really early in my career, and this was actually QuickBooks Desktop. I had a client that hired a new in-house bookkeeper helper, and she the business owner told her that they weren't doing business with a list of vendors, and so that she should delete them out of QuickBooks. And so she went into QuickBooks and tried to delete it. And if, you know, people who use desktop know, and even QuickBooks Online know, that if you have transactions for that particular vendor, you can't delete them. You can't delete them. And so she deleted all of the transactions for all the vendors. that he didn't want to see on the list anymore, and then deleted the vendors. And so this went back several years, and she deleted all the reconciled transactions. She deleted all of the vendors. And so I came in to do the month end, and I'm like, something's way off here. We have a lot more money in the bank account. And this was back like in desktop days, and they didn't have the audit trail turned on. This is way back, like we're talking years and years ago. So that would have been a day that Rewind would have been amazing, because, you know, now in QuickBooks Online, you have the audit log, but you would still have to recreate everything, right? So that would have been a day that I would have wanted to have Rewind for sure. And then the other one was when a client, had gone through and did a similar thing, and deleted a bunch of items because they didn't want to see them in there anymore. So these are the types of things that do happen to us. I mean, they do happen to our clients, where somebody goes in and they become the bull in the china closet, right? And they don't realize it. And what's awesome is you can go back to, you know, the minute before that person actually was hired and rewind.
Just completely delete all the work they've done.
Exactly. Just say, when did they sign in? Well, we could just go back to the minute before that. And
And let's just have a rebuild
everything's
at that
good.
point.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I had a client that literally this was our phrase. If in doubt, he would delete it out. And there was the audit trail, so I could go back, but man, it was such a pain. So for
Oh,
him,
such a pain.
you know, anything that he didn't understand, he would just be like, delete, you know, accountant changes at the end of the year, delete, you know, any of those things, it just didn't make sense. So it takes a lot of work to sometimes create those original transactions. It's great to be able to say, well, I don't want to delete those.
I think that's what William said in the chat as well. Essentially, the times when you should just delete the client as well.
I missed that chat. Oh, yeah.
Delete the client.
Delete the client. Well, you know, sometimes you have to. Sometimes that's just the right choice.
Yeah,
Right.
completely agree with you.
Yes.
I felt like when I used to work in consulting, it was that was very much what I wished to do quite a lot of the time.
Right. Yeah. You know, sometimes that's a that is a real option, though. We can do away with them. But okay, so coming back over here to look at some of these other questions. So Kim, let's see, and George. So George has got a question about the IRS. Does Rewind backups, is that enough? And, you know, I'm going to say, Brad, you may want to take this from me, but my initial answer is going to be no. I would think that you would need more of the data than just being able to have the backup, because Rewind would need somewhere to put that data in order for it to be legible.
Yeah, I think what we're essentially providing is like an insurance product here, right? Like if you think about the ways that you would usually back up this data, it's like you put it onto USB sticks, you would save it in a different area of your desktop, maybe you'd have a hard copy, maybe you'd export it into a CSV, right? And what we're essentially doing is taking that and putting it into an automated platform, which we store separately for you outside of the QuickBooks realm. So in terms of whether the IRS would essentially consider that to be sufficient enough, it's one way in which you protect your data, right? We've obviously not done any work with the IRS as far as I'm aware. I can double check with our product team business to see if there's been any discussions with them about auditing the service to see if it would be something that they would provide an opinion on. Agree, if they did, then it would be great for our marketing, right? Because see the Rewind business booming off the back of that, which would be great, but that hasn't happened at present. But I think the point here is that when you're looking at protecting data, I don't think there's ever like a one-stop shop for this, right? Like it's Rewind is an excellent insurance product in a way to protect that data and to have that control and to be able to restore it. But as anything in life, right? Like the more options you have, the more chances you have of being safe out there.
So
It's
right
a tool in the toolbox.
Yeah,
in the toolbox for sure. It makes me want to ask the question, is there an export option out of Rewind? Can you put it into Excel? Is that an option?
I don't think so at present. I mean, as with all this stuff, if it isn't here at the moment, this is something which we can take back to the product team and see if it's something which they can offer.
Well, it wasn't
think-
really that it was necessary. It was just kind of a
Yeah.
follow-up to George's question, like thinking, what all functionality was available.
Yeah, so I think with the Rewind thing, the way I would do that obviously is you'd restore the data back to an instance, right? So we would have that data in the Rewind QBO. So I think I will clarify this. I'm not a technical expert on this, but my understanding from how I've seen it work is that essentially you restore the data back, and you could then obviously export it into those files at any point in time. But the ability to actually extract the Rewind data into an Excel file, I don't believe exists. But again, yeah, it could be something that's there in the future.
Well, so I want to ask another question, but then Heather, do you mind launching the poll? Because I want to make sure
Yeah, of
that
course.
people who have questions, we haven't been able to get to all of them. If you want to reach out, you can certainly get more information directly from Brad and Vanessa. Some people, there's a lot of people here who
There's a
are
lot,
saying
yeah.
you're using Rewind, which is always
Yeah.
fantastic. We love hearing that.
Yeah,
There's a
we
lot of
love to
people that are
hear the fact that
interested.
people are using it.
Yeah.
It makes my
Yeah.
job a little bit easier, right? And well, it makes my job anyway because I'm an accountant and stuff. But
So Brad, if people have questions, do you have an email address that you want them to reach out to?
yeah, I believe.
Does it happen to be on the next slide? Because I'm wondering.
Yeah, let me just double. I'm going to just go to the next slide. Oh no, 1 second. There we go. Yes.
Yeah.
So
Ah, there you
we
go.
are.
Perfect.
So there's a couple of things here, obviously. So in terms of the contact email address, Vanessa has kindly volunteered to filter these questions. If there's anything specific and you would like an accountant's thoughts on it, then Vanessa can also forward your emails on to me. But obviously, in terms of any product related stuff, Vanessa will be more than happy to help answer those questions for you. So yeah, so feel free to forward on to her, and she will help in any way that she can. As part of this slide, as well as Liz and Vanessa obviously touched upon earlier on, we are providing a discount for the next 2 months. If you use the code AppyHour25, so this would be a discount of 25% off of using Rewind for QBO. So this is valid until May the 28th. And if you would like to sign up for that, there's obviously the link within the slides, which is www.rewind.com/appyhour. And then there's also a couple of resources here about how you can learn more about Rewind and also read some of our additional resources.
Fantastic. Well, we've got quite a few people have voted, about a little more than half of you. So we're still waiting on quite a few of you to vote in the poll. I'm going to close it out in just a minute. So if you haven't had a chance to click that voting button, please do, because I'm going to count you down in just a minute. Also, I always get one or two more. There we go. All right. All right. So I'm going to count you guys down. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And if you missed the poll, no worries. Just send us a chat. Send us a chat with your email. We're happy to send it along. So fantastic. Awesome. Oh, Liz, you're muted.
Okay.
You were being a very good chat bot there because we couldn't hear what you were saying.
I was so excited too. I love our coolest things. And I love it when we get a chance to talk about the cool stuff that we found out there. Bots are all the rage. Everybody's talking about them. So we thought, why not on Appy Hour do some playtime?
Oh my gosh, of
He's out
course.
there.
Yes.
Do
So
you want to
you
share,
guys have
Heather, 'cause
heard
you're
about-
doing some cool stuff with ChatGPT.
Yeah, I use ChatGPT actually almost every day in my work. Although you showed me what you're using now, which is I closed it now. You were
Oh,
using
I'll show that one here in a second, but yeah.
Oh,
right.
perfect. Yeah. So ChatGPT, I use it mostly for content. So like it helps me to to create email text. It'll help me with tweet text or Facebook, mostly marketing stuff that I have to do in my role at Woodard. But it also does other things like, sometimes it actually will build code for me. So we use HubSpot. That's what our website is built on top of HubSpot. And so I can ask it for little snippets of code. It's actually taught me how to build Zaps. So I actually did an experiment with ChatGPT where I said, tell me how to build an app with Airtable and Zapier where I can just enter in a topic and it will make a call to OpenAI and then write an article for me. And it did it. I was able to do it. And I actually, that's on the Woodard report. It was the ethics of ChatGPT as written by ChatGPT. So that was a lot of fun. So I do use that quite a bit. It's very, very helpful for our marketing team. And then the other one that I've used in the past and I still use, there's a couple more. I mean, there's so many of them now, is Creator.ai. And Liz, so Creator, I know you're going to share your thing, but Creator.ai, I actually, I got it off of AppSumo, which is one of those marketplaces where you can buy things really cheap. So I bought a lifetime license and I asked it to write a poem. I asked it to write a poem about the Appy Hour. And so I'd like to share the poem if that's okay.
Oh, I can't wait. Yes.
Okay.
Please.
All right. So I said, what do we want to have the poem about? And I said, the Appy Hour with Liz and Heather. That's all I gave it was just write the poem. So it says our kooky hosts are Liz and Heather. So we're kooky. It knew that. It was smart enough to know that we're kooky. On the Appy Hour, they came together. That's also true. So to bring you fun, laughter, and cheer, listen to them and lend an ear. Tunes of tech and reviews they'll share. Their banter sincere and always fair. So join them on the Appy Hour for a podcast you won't want to miss. A good time they promise to deliver, chock full of Apple goodness. So you'll never quiver. Not sure where the apple came in. I think it had something to do with the Appy. So Liz and Heather are perfect together. Could not agree more. So join and enjoy the Appy Hour filled with fun and laughter.
So cheesy. It's too good.
It was so cheesy. It was almost as cheesy as a love letter that we had it write to us earlier today.
Well, it's so fun to watch these because, okay, here's the one that you were talking about. So Write Sonic. So today, Heather and I were playing around and we took Write Sonic and we said, hey, write an Appy Hour song. And then what it did is over in Write Sonic. So I'm going to show you Write Sonic here. And it's another one that's just like ChatGPT. In fact, Chat Sonic is just like ChatGPT. But down here, you can do song lyrics. So in the song lyrics, I said, okay, write us a song. And it did, and it came back. And then I went over into another AI tool and I said, I want it to sing it to us. So our video is actually rendering, so wah wah, but I want to go ahead and show you what it looks like. So I took the song that came out of Write Sonic, I put it down here in the bottom, and then I picked an avatar. There's a whole list of different avatars that you can pick from, but I liked Alex. And then I can say play. So here's our song. So I was also able to add some music to it.
Oh, for some reason, we're not hearing the music.
I'm not hearing it either. So let's see. Well, maybe it's good stuff to come because maybe it's in that rendering phase and it won't let me play it while it's rendering. That's very, very possible. So I'll put it out on Facebook later because what will happen is the avatar will actually start to say the lyrics and then I put some music to the background.
I love that. How fun is that?
I know, it's
so
like
fun.
all these different AI tools that are out there. You know, what all can we do with them? It's just super fun.
My Facebook image is actually AI rendered. So I did, remember we did that together.
I love that one.
Like the whole, yeah, that was super fun too. So,
This
oh,
one's
is it ready? Is the new
creepy.
thing ready now?
No,
Are
this
you
one's
gonna
it's
show
still
that?
rendering. This is a different
Oh,
one.
okay.
So this is one that takes your actual images and then turns them into avatars. So this is just a
Hilarious.
fun little test. Oh, it's not working. You can't hear it. Well, anyway, maybe that's my audio issue in Zoom land. So you can see that these aren't, let me stop share for a second. You can see that these are super fun to play with. And I think that it was Hector Garcia who did a whole series about what all can you do with AI and being a QuickBooks Online consultant. And so he took a whole list of different questions that were asked by different users. And then ChatGPT gave a lot of great answers and replies to those different questions. It's pretty good. It's a 3-part series.
Yeah. No, it is. It's amazing. And the other person that's doing some really interesting, fun things with this whole AI and ChatGPT is Jason Statz. So Jason Statz has done, he's done 2 versions of training a staff accountant, like a staff accountant assistant for his firm. And he's, it can create spreadsheets and tables. And he said the new ChatGPT 4 is just so much better. What I will say about it is it was supposed to be a lot faster, but it's not. It's actually a lot slower right now. So
Yeah, that's interesting.
yeah, but it's very
Right.
interesting. Let us know what in the Happy Hour Lounge, go in there and let's start this awesome conversation about AI, ChatGPT, all that kind of thing, and figure out what's going on. My kitty just came over and wanted to get in the conversation.
I can't wait for that video to be ready and to post that over inside of our Facebook.
Oh, I can't wait to see it.
It's just so fun. So I want to say thank you to everybody who joined us today. Thank you to our sponsors. And Brad, I'm so grateful that you joined us today.
Thank you for having me. It's been great.
It's
And
always a
Thank you
pleasure.
for a great product. I mean, I think a lot of us, you help a lot of us sleep at night. And, it's funny because, we say that accountants, one of the services that we provide to our clients is peace of mind. And I feel like Rewind does the same thing for us accountants. So thank you.
Yeah, no, it's to be fair, it's great to see the poll and just see that there's a lot of people that already use the app. So
Yeah.
that's always lovely to see.
I 100% agree. And we've got some really cool episodes that are coming up. So Dan Luthi is going to be joining us. We got a chance to meet with him today, and it's going to be a fantastic episode.
He's awesome. He is just so smart and humble and smart and awesome. And he's going to be sharing his tech stack with us. So that's going to be really cool. Very
Lots
excited
of
for that.
integrations there.
Mhm.
It's like you said, he's super smart and he's taking the time to really consider the direction that the data is going and being able to gather it and pull in some resources for creating the tech stack that works for his firm. So don't miss that episode. It's going to be April 11th. And then we're going to have our great buddies from Swissnet joining us. So April 18th, and then the 25th, we're going to be joined by Commerce Sync. And then fairly early May, we're going to have Kelly Gonzalez join us, and she's going to be doing
Kelly.
a firm spotlight too.
Love Kelly. She's going to bring tons of goodness there. So somebody's asking about the Happy Hour Lounge. I'm getting the link for you. So don't shut down, Liz, before I can get the link in
Okay.
here for you.
Yeah, the
All right,
lounge
here
is
we
where you
go.
can come and ask questions. You want to be able to know more about Rewind, or you want to ask some questions and didn't get a chance to ask them directly, you can always shoot those over there. Also, if you've got tech stack questions, so some of our peers that are coming on Happy Hour, if you wanted to be able to ask why that app or how does that app work, just general questions to each other. That's just a good community place to poke around and just share information with each other.
And our app friends are in there too. So definitely get in there and we'll be stopping in quite a bit. So we hope to see you there.
And you were able to get that link in there?
I did. Yes,
All right.
I did. Well, Brad, thanks so much for joining us today. This has been a really awesome And we hope to have you on again soon. We really
Yeah.
appreciate you a sponsor with Happy Hour this year, and we look forward to more awesomeness with you guys.
And to hear about that baby.
Yes.
Yeah. Maybe I'll share some pictures with you both, and then
Oh,
how
that'd be
big she is, or
adorable.
how little she is right now.
Yay.
Oh my gosh, yeah, of course I'd love to see. Are you kidding? All right, well, bye everyone, and we will see you April 11th.
Take care, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.